Hi, I'm Ellis from Architect Personal Training. Today I just wanted to talk about high volume training versus low volume, high frequency training. Okay, so today we're sort of talking specifically about building muscle. I'm a bodybuilder, so my main goal is to be building muscle consistently. So whether you're a bodybuilder, physique athlete, or just someone who wants to build muscle, we're talking about the most efficient ways to be doing that. Okay, so the topic of discussion, like I said, is high volume versus effectively high frequency, which is a lower volume approach. And what I mean by this, I'll get into in a second. So I've trained with three different kinds of training methods, I suppose, all with good success, all with good results. The first is a high intensity kind of Dorian Yates style approach, which effectively is one set per exercise. This is a lower volume approach, but it's not a high frequency approach, so we'll get into that later. So effectively with a Dorian Yates style approach, what you do is you'll warm up to your heaviest set. Usually your heaviest set of a particular exercise will be in the 6 to 12 rep range, depending on which exercise you're doing. But it's always very intense, so those 6 to 8 reps, you're always trying to go, 6 to 12 reps usually, you're always trying to go to failure on that set, okay? So you're pushing as hard as you can for one set for every exercise you do. So when you talk about intensity and reaching failure, that's what that means. And I like this approach still. I put a lot of my clients on it when I'm trying to teach about intensity, and it taught me a lot about what it means to train with intensity and pushing towards failure, like I said. The second kind of approach I've taken is a high volume approach. So this would be the kind of training that I've done is 3 working sets of a particular exercise, all the same weight, but usually between 10 to 14 reps. Sometimes as low as 8, but usually about 10 to 14, depending again on exercise for those 3 sets. So you can see that the weight would be reduced, it wouldn't be as heavy a weight, but you are doing 3 sets per exercise. Usually is a lower rest period because of that. And both have worked well, both of those two have worked well. And the third kind is a low volume, high frequency approach. So this is the kind of training I'm doing at the moment, okay? So you might have heard of a push-pull legs split, where you split all of your body parts into 3 days a week, whereas the previous 2 training methods I've always done 5 days. So before I was doing legs, arms, a back day, a chest day, and a shoulders and abs day. Whereas now, with the push-pull legs type split, it is push would be chest, side and front delts, and triceps. Back would be, pulling would be back, biceps and rear delts, and legs would be obviously legs, and usually abdominals as well. Okay, but what I mean by high frequency approach is because you're splitting everything over 3 days, you can actually train everything twice a week. So the frequency that you're training goes up. Again, this is, because it's a high frequency approach, it has to be a low volume approach. So again, it's sort of one working set, just like the Dorian Yates style. This is the way I'm doing it anyway, one working set per exercise. Usually 2 to 3 exercises per body part. So 2 to 3 exercises for chest, 2 to 3 exercises for grouping sort of front and side delts together, and then 2 or 3 exercises for triceps. But we do this twice a week, and they're not the same exercises. So For example, my first push day, I will in the week, I will do an incline barbell press. The second, I will swap that for an incline dumbbell press. Same with legs. So one day it will be a hack squat. One day it will be a barbell back squat. So you're changing the exercises so that effectively you do each exercise just once a week, but you're training different exercises throughout the week to hit the muscle twice in the same week. So what's the difference between using these methods? I think all of them have merit. Any training method, I think, is useful or can be useful. There's always a dose dependence, so there's always got to be a minimal volume, a minimal frequency, and a maximum volume and maximum frequency. Okay, so what I mean by this is you wouldn't go into the gym and do one exercise for chest and leave, and that's your chest day. That's what we're talking about, very low volume, so that wouldn't work. But at the same time, I wouldn't go into the gym and do 50 sets for chest, because that's just ridiculous, that's too much volume. So the factor in the success of all these phases is progression. Okay, it's always going to be progressive overload, so try and beat your previous bests. If you haven't looked at my video about logbooking or workout training journals, that's a very good video to go and watch if you want to know about progression, how to progress efficiently, how to track your progression. I always recommend logbooking, okay, so writing down every workout, choosing a goal for next week, and that's how you get your progression, okay. So you're always aiming to either up the weight on all these exercises, always aiming to up the reps, or sometimes even add volume in some cases. Depending on where you are in your training, all of these training methods have merit, I think. If I were training for someone who had never trained before, I'd introduce them to a slightly higher volume approach, but still low frequency, okay? So I might even do a push-pull legs, but just once a week. So one push session a week, or one pull session a week, one leg session a week, but have it a high volume so they get used to using the muscle more if they're a complete beginner. And then probably move them into intensity methods. This is what I've done with my clients previously, move them into intensity methods. So actually upping the frequency a little bit, cutting down the volume, and introducing them to a sort of trying to reach failure on working sets of each exercise. And then eventually the place where I'm at now is I can utilize training everything twice a week. So my frequency has gone up, my volume has gone down, and I'm progressing still. So all my weights are going up each week, or more or less each week. Reps are going up, everything's progressing. Okay, so that's the main thing to take away here. I don't think any one method is better than the other. We're all different, we all have different responses to different training stimuluses. I really like Dorian Yates style approach because it teaches you how to work hard, teaches you work ethic, intensity, like I've said before, reaching failure, those sort of critical things. Also, it's big on controlling the weight, which is the number one thing I teach all my clients right off the bat, even if you've trained before, is rep tempo. You always want to be slow on the negative, and that's something that Dorian Yates has always sort of talked about, and it's something that is, for me, the most important thing when learning to train properly, is learning to control the weight. But then again, high volume works for some people better than high intensity does, and high frequency works better for some people than low frequency does. So so really, as long as you're keeping consistent, that's the thing. There's no point doing 2 weeks of a Dorian Yates style approach and then going, oh, this doesn't work, I haven't seen any results, move on to a high volume style approach, and then, oh, this hasn't worked, move on to high frequency style approach. Do everything for as long as you can until you're not progressing anymore, and then change things, okay? So, for example, right now, I think I'm going to stay at this high frequency, low volume approach for as long as I can. And even when my lifts stagnate, just rotate lifts, okay? So for example, if my incline barbell press stagnates and for 3 or 4 weeks I haven't progressed in reps or weight, maybe I'll take that out and put a decline bench in, okay? When you find that maybe everything sort of stagnates, you're gonna have to look at how much food you're eating. You might have to increase your calorie intake. If you've done that and it's still sort of stagnant, you're still at a plateau, and then it's time to change your training methods, okay? Or perhaps take a rest week, rest is very important. Okay. The thing I like, one more thing about the high frequency approach though, is because you're training everything twice a week, you can afford yourself that luxury of sometimes taking a day off when you need it, okay? So right now the plan is, because I train everything twice a week over 7 days, usually it would be 7 to 8 days I recommend for most people, but the way I'm doing it right now is I'm finding I can recover through 6 out of 7 days training and just have 1 day off. But if I feel like I need an extra day, I can take that day because I'm working that same muscle group at least once more in a week. Okay, I wouldn't go crazy with it. I wouldn't suddenly take 3 days off unless it was like a planned sort of rest phase. But you can sort of still afford yourself the ability to take off extra days when you need them. So I hope this has helped. Anyone who's looking for a tailored training program is something I offer on my site. I also do online personal training, which is sort of an ongoing kind of repeated training update, diet update, and email consultation sort of package. So yeah, if you're stuck on what to do at all, come to my website, and even if you just have a little chat, I can help you out. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like the video. There's lots more coming. Like my Facebook page, and like I said, visit my website.